321 decks. It's a new one by Waves of Your Soul, Marine at Waves of Your Soul, and I will link her below for you to check out. I love her. So the first one is 5 decks that made me fall in love with reading cards. And the first one that I'm going to show is my first deck that I bought ever, if I can find it, sorry. And it is The Mystical Cats by Lunaea Weatherstone and Mickey Mueller. This has been around a while, so I'm sure you guys have seen it. But when I got into tarot this last time, which has been years now, but I did not like RWS, traditional RWS. I didn't like the colors. I didn't like the artwork, and I wanted something different. And I'm a cat person. I'm a dog person too. So just know I have 2 of each, 2 cats and 2 dogs. I love them both sets, both sides. You know what I'm saying? But at the time, this cat deck, I think it might have been the only one out there. No, I think there was another one, but this one really spoke to me. So this was the first deck I bought and the one that I started to read on, and it helped me, guided me, was gentle with me, and I love it. And this deck has a special place in my heart. It is what got me to love reading decks, reading cards, doing tarot. It led me to meet some wonderful people who I'm still friends with years later. And it's still one of my fave decks. Even if I don't use it as much now, I love it. So that was The Mystical Cats. Another one I've gotten more recently, and I've shown it before, but it really kind of spoke to me in a way I wasn't expecting, and that is the This Might Hurt Tarot. These are the backs. Let's see. I hope it's coming through. And it's edged in the rainbow edging there. I didn't expect to like this deck as much as I do. It kind of, when it came into my life, it kind of lifted me up and took me with it. It was an energy that I needed. Even though it says this might hurt, the way it says the messages to me is actually pretty gentle. It is RWS based and modernized, so not completely RWS. And this just kind of got me out of a rut I was in, a down spot, and brought me through. So that's another deck that made me fall in love with reading the cards again. And it came out of nowhere. So that is the This Might Hurt Tarot. And that is by, oops, don't want to fall down on the job here. It's by Isabella Rotman. And this is the book that comes with it. It's a good little book too. Another deck that made me fall in love with reading, let's see, for a different reason, was the Vice Versa Tarot. And I don't have the box or a book with it, so I'm unsure who created it. I will put it in the description box. This made me fall in love with reading because it showed me that you can read beyond the cards, that what you see isn't necessarily everything that there is. And I'm sorry, a cat is coming through. Hold on a sec. Okay, that was one of my cats that I mentioned earlier. That was Pearl. Sorry about that. Anyway, so what this deck has, it has the traditional card on one side, and then traditional in its own sense. And then the other side is how you see it from the other point of view, directly across, usually. So here's the 5 of Wands, And then you see a volcano behind it and the Five of Wands. Here's the Four of Swords. And then looking at the other side of him, this side is him and his throne with a stone wall. And then the other side has this big, beautiful window, but things are burning down behind it. And so this is the Nine of Wands, which would be like this. And then on the other side, he has a maiden coming to him out of a cave. So did he save her? Has he, what's happening there? But this just helped me to fall in love with reading in a way that I could go further than I did before, that I could look at the other point of view and have it mean something. So you basically mix this up. You just reverse some like you do if you read reversals, except not up and down, but side to side, and just shuffle them. And it makes you think. So that this deck is also at a time when I was still fairly new, so it gave me confidence when I would do this and I could actually read from it. And I was like, oh, okay, I know more than I thought. So that was the Vice Versa Tarot. Another deck that I have that helped me fall in love with reading. I cannot explain at all why why I love this deck so much, but it is, if I can get it out of the bag, the Gill Tarot. And that is by Elisabeth Josephine Gill. It comes with a little white book. These are the backs. And it also comes a card with a layout for the Kabbalah. So this is Thoth based. I did edge mine multicolored, which I really like because it's very colorful deck. It's Thoth based and it has keywords on the minor arcana, like the Prince of Wands, aspiration, Eight of Swords, conflict. And it's kind of basic artwork in a way, but I absolutely love this deck. I think it reads great for me, and the keywords really help me. They work for me. And I don't know what, I seriously just don't know what it is about this deck. I love this deck. And it's one that I have used a lot in the past 6 months or so and got me into a really good groove of reading again. So that's why it also fell into the made me fall in love with reading. Because again, this one came through at a time when I was in a rut again. And I got it, something called to me about it, and I absolutely love it. So that is the Gill Tarot. And the last one of the 5 decks that made me fall in love, and we are going completely different here, was a Lenormand deck, Under the Roses by Kendra Hurteau and Katrina Hill. So back in the day, it's been a while now, I found a meetup that was doing Lenormand readings where you could learn Lenormand. And I decided to go, and I met, I still have friends from that, and that was years ago. This is the deck. It's all backwards. Why is it all backwards? That I bought for that. And I love reading Lenormand. And I have more than this deck now, but this is the one I tend to go to. That's the back. And I showed this before. It's hard to see, but I did sparkle glitter on spots on the cards. They're a great Lenormand size, perfect Lenormand size. And then I did that before I even know what modding a deck was, because I was still fairly new at all of this. One of my friends, he was teaching the course. It wasn't teaching a course. It was leading the group and helping reading. And he had done his, and he probably doesn't even remember this, but I loved it. So I went home and got out nail polish and put some sparkle on every card. and it's still my favorite deck. So this Lenormand helped me to realize that there's so much more out there that you can learn if you want, different ways to divine and help you grow. So yeah, that was a deck that made me fall in love with reading cards. Still love Lenormand. I don't do it as much. I still text that friend when I have questions who led the group so many years ago. And he's still really good. Like he pops those out of his mind. And I'm like, how did you? I'm just not there yet. So next we have 4 decks that challenged me in a good or bad way. So I'm going to do the obvious first, and that is Thoth. When I first saw the Thoth deck, I couldn't stand it. It was, I don't know if scary is the right word, but it was very dramatic. And I didn't like it. So as I've grown and moved through my journey with cards, I've gotten to appreciate it more, but there's so much there that I have no idea. So that's why it's challenging. This is the mini Greenie deck from Make Playing Cards. It's done by Alpha Lyr, Lyr. If you're interested, it's got a great I can't think of it, cardstock. It's a little thin, but the texture is really good. So yeah, Thoth was one that challenges me, but I've been little by little studying. I do have a book that I want to go through. I kind of come at Thoth sideways through a mysticism / Kabbalah thing a little bit is where I got more into wanting to do the Thoth. But even that, don't let me sound like I'm all hoity-toity about this. I don't know anything about mysticism and Kabbalah except the bare minimum, but it's interesting to me. So then it goes into, that's how I come into the Thoth. So that was one of the decks that challenges me. Another deck, let's see, that challenges me is I'm making a mess, sorry. The Osho Zen Tarot. And if I can find it, my goodness. Got it. Okay. I had a friend who read this did a reading for me with this deck years ago. This is the mini. I do have the full size also, and this is the book on the mini. I wish I'd pulled the full size out, but if you haven't seen the Osho Zen, each card in there will have a commentary by Osho, and then it talks about the card and how it is affecting you, what it could mean for you. It's really good, really deep. The commentary is always makes you think, so it's really nice. I edged mine in red, and so my friend did a reading for me with this deck, and I was amazed at how deep it goes, those readings. And when I read with it, it still is awe-inspiring. I'm like, wow. And then I really have to think on it for a while, which is why it challenges me. It's not a deck that I go to just to get a quick reading or an everyday reading. Definitely not. This deck goes deep. And it does have keywords. So the suits are different and the court cards are different. And also some of the majors have been renamed. So it takes a little bit getting used to. They do have the words on there that might help if you don't know what like 12 is, and they put new vision. With the image alone is enough a lot of times to get it. But I do, if you want to read with this, suggest reading out of the book, because almost every time there's an aha. And this, by the way, is Osho. if you didn't know, the master on this deck. This was created by his right-hand woman, if it says her name, because I don't remember. Deva Padma did the illustrations, and also edited by Sarito Carol Neiman, designed by Amio Runke and Deva Sandapa. So I love this deck. And I think everybody can think for themselves, but if you've seen the documentary on Osho, you may have some issues with it, but I think the deck is still worth it so much for the information you get and how deep it goes and how much it actually pulls out of you and helps you. So that was the Osho Zen Tarot for one of mine that challenges me. The next one that challenges me is the Archetypes Tarot by Kim Krans. This is one that I also have the full size and the mini. If you haven't seen this, or new to Tarot too, so you hadn't seen it, Kim Krans did the Wild Unknown Tarot, and she's done different oracles, and she has amazing work. Not necessarily for everyone. I know the way the artwork is. I do not have the tarot. I just have oracles, so I'm one of those. But each card has keywords, talks about it. It talks about when light, when dark, something to go deeper, which could be an art piece, a music piece, a book, something like that. And then these comments on the side. And I love, love, love. It is a big round deck, so the small one's easier to handle to the backs. And this deck challenges me because it's one of those that I read with and then I really have to leave it and think about it. It goes in a way that my brain doesn't grasp right away, even though all the information's there in the picture and the artwork, in her writings in the book, but it just touches deep spots and I'm like, no, there's something more there. So that's why it is one that challenges me when I read it. And I'm going to ask again, if anybody knows how to combine or has a good way to combine the archetypes and her alchemy deck, my brain cannot create something that way. But if yours does, please, please, please share with me, because I really want to read these together, her alchemy deck and this archetype deck. And I just can't wrap my brain around it. So that is the Wild Unknown Archetypes by Kim Krans that challenges me. These are all challenging in a good way. And the last one challenges me for a different reason. And it is the Dark Mirror Oracle by Laura Sava. There, now you can see a little better. This challenges me because it is a shadow deck. At least for me it is. I think I've mentioned it. I saw this deck at first on Aphrodite's YouTube channel. And he would do, he does pop culture readings, and he would pull for this deck a lot with Britney Spears readings, years ago. This deck is by Riccardo Minetti, did the book, and Laura Sava did the deck. The book is interesting. It does come in multiple languages, but it has the card title, the moon phase, and the stage. And then a line there, a visual seed, which talks about how the deck looks, a sentence, and then going dark. So let me just show you. So here are the backs, and it is a little glossy. And if you can hear that, we have thunder. So here's the deck. Peaceful among thorns, hiding your true self. So I won't cry for you. Try not to get a glare. So this is why this is definitely a shadow deck for me, but it's really good. Like I said, he did it a lot with Britney Spears, but she was going through a shadow time when she was in her issue. I can't think what it was called. You know what I mean. And then let me pick a card and I'll show you what it is in the book. So you have the temple of my body, and look at her nails. Can you see that? The nails? Those are awesome. If you can tell, it's hard to see. So if I look this up, the temple of my body, let me see here. So then in the book, it's the moon phase is the first quarter. The stage is depression. I feel I am not worth enough. The visual seed is what the picture is. So it's a succubus-like creature with claws resembling nails holding a very thin silver chain, and the pendant on it appears like a crimson tear of blood. And then it goes, the sentence, my body is the temple of my soul. It has no secrets to me. It's kind of like an affirmation. And then going dark, and it talks about what this card is about. Like it's about darkness in the body and how culture can make us take distance from what is our corporality. So it's a really good book too, and it works wonderfully for shadow work. So that's why that one challenges me. That's the Dark Mirror Oracle. Next, we have 3 decks I would recommend to anyone. This is such a subjective thing that I actually asked a couple of friends what they thought. But first, the one that I have recommended and continue to is Modern Witch, or as I say, Modern Bitch a lot, by Lisa Sterle. And I absolutely love this deck. I know that there is love and hate for this deck. Here's the booklet that comes with it. Whoa, little hardcover booklet. Part of it is it's got really thick cardstock. It is glossy and it is thick, and it's about impossible to riffle shuffle. So that's a lot of people's issues with the deck, I think. It is RWS, but modern. And all of the characters are different types of femininity. So they're all feminine characters. And this deck I absolutely love. I connect with this deck so much. And I have recommended it. Just know if you haven't seen it or used it, the cardstock can be an issue. But yeah, this was the one that I recommend. The Modern Witch Tarot. Check it out if you're interested, because I think it's really good. I love how it's modernized and how it's all feminine. And I don't mean feminine as in necessarily born feminine. I mean all feminine that is in us and how that comes out in our world. So it's really good. So one of my friends recommended the Gilded Tarot, or there was another Gilded Tarot that had another word. I can't think of what she said. And I happen to have that one. I have a vintage version. It's by Ciro Marchetti, or is it Marchetti? I don't know. So mine is like from 2000, I think, which will make you feel really old when you realize that that is now vintage. And I am about halfway to antique. So that's sad. Anyway, this deck came with these spread cards. I don't know if the newer ones do. It is still in print. So it's going to look a little different because this one's such an old print. But this is one that she recommended. she would recommend to others. And I like this. I like the artwork. I like how it's got the gems that relate to the suit instead of like a whole border. They do the gem. I just think it's really neat. I kind of like how that one on the Ten of Swords, they're not actually in him. There we go. That's better. Sorry about that. But they're all lit and they're kind of coming down. I don't know. That's neat. So this is one that would recommend, especially if you like fantasy style. This is definitely a fantasy style one. So that is the Gilded Tarot by Ciro Marchetti. I should probably figure out how to say his name properly. So then my other friend recommended just an RWS. I know that she started reading with Thoth, so that would not be a recommendation most times. But she said any RWS because that's what a lot of the studies are based on in the books and stuff. So I pulled out the Weiser Tarot, RWS. It's the only difference is the colorings and it's been made inclusive. And I showed this on my last video, so I'll just go real quick. Here are the backs. And it's like a watercolor background, sponged background. And with diversive characters. So they're not all wasp characters. So yeah, definitely recommend an RWS for beginners, especially. But know that there are so many options on RWS nowadays. But like I said, it's so subjective to a deck somebody would like, but these are more of a general idea, I guess. Because I would have recommended Modern Witch and would again, but I think I would ask them what's your style or what kind of art, or kind of narrow it down if there's time. So yeah, there's that. Next we have two decks that feel like they were made for me. And the main one is the Everyday Witch Tarot. Oh gosh, now I don't remember who wrote it, who created it. Is it Deborah? I'll have it down in the description. Sorry about that. I've had this forever. Again, I have a mini one in my purse. It could go in my pocket, but it's in my purse. This is my favorite temperance card. I think it's perfect. And my favorite tower card, where she brought that tower down herself. I don't know, this deck, it's fun. It's a little cartoony, but it's in a good way to me. I get great readings out of it. The details that they did with it is wonderful. So this deck was definitely like one of my soul decks. I like the artwork. Every card has a cat, so I am all about that. Literally every card has a cat. I love that. That's great. Look at that cat. It's holding on for dear life. Yeah, so that's the Everyday Witch. Is a deck that was that feels like it was made for me. All right, and another deck that I feel was made for me is the Audacity deck by the Pine Torch. It's an oracle, and it's a little sassy, and I'm a little sassy, so I love it. It does come with a little book that talks about the card and then your message, so it can be helpful. It's a nice little book. Here are the backs. I really like the backs too. It is edged in the rainbow gilding. So some of these are tarot-like you have the Star, the Hermit, but they're not all like that. We will get to some here in a minute. So when you go and read in the book, it definitely gives you a different vibe. Here's the Last Hurrah, the Chicken Nugget, the Zoom meeting. Oh, I've been in some meetings that I feel like that actually. Let's do the book on the Zoom meeting and maybe you can get an idea of what I'm talking about. I gotta find it first though. Hold on. 27, there we go. So the book says, let me hold this up. Working from home, juggling work, life, kids, pets, and the looming virus, pantsless, all while smiling for a Zoom conference call. Is there a spare serrated knife in my kitchen I can use on myself? And then your message, cut the crap. So many unnecessary meetings, routines, relationships. We go through the notions even while we are on fire. It's okay to say no. Declutter your life without guilt. So it's got really good messages because you know you're not always going to get something when you see the cheese fries. Intuitively, you may not get any from the breast pump. So yeah, it's really, I like it. It's quirky. I actually really like the artwork. The cardstock's nice. It's a matte. It's a good size. And look, the Empress is nursing and taking care of everything at once and looking good while doing it. So she's pretty good. Oh, darn. There we go. So this is a card that I feel like was made for me because it kind of speaks that part that, sometimes we're scared to say, and it'll say it for you. So that is the Audacity deck by the Pine Torch. And then the last prompt is one deck I can't shut up about. And I even tried to purposely not put this anywhere else in a video recently. But it is the Star Tarot by Cathy McClellan. It's got the chunker book. I have shown this before. I love this deck and the book that goes with it. Let me grab it out of here. Here are the backs. The sides are gilded, or the edges, I should say. I love this deck. It is colorful. It is like an RWS Thoth mix. And each card has so many symbols that in addition to the traditional symbols. So like here you have turtles, some birds, and I don't know if those are butterflies or moths. I think they're moths, a bird's nest. And the book talks about every single symbol in here, in each card. It talks about the card, the traditional meanings, and the symbols. It's a really great book. And she put so much into this. Like there's so much thought into each card just to be able to pull off the symbolism she has. There's anything from, like I said, there's birds, some will have fishes, other animals. Let's see, like this one, this has butterflies, it has lilies, apples, a dove. Yeah, so this is the Star Tarot. I am so in love with this deck. I love looking at the pictures because they're so bright. And then you have a white stag, which is my thing too. There you go. And let me show you the book real quick. I've shown it before, but let me get in here. So if we go to like the Seven of Pentacles, it'll have the picture, the astrological signs and everything, the lunar cycle, keywords. And then it talks about it in traditional sense and in how it was depicted. And then down here on the last paragraph will be all the symbols in this card. So the white buffalo woman, the sacred pipe, the medicine wheel, the Milky Way, and the six-pointed star. And it will do every single one. So you can just go grab so deep out of these. The meaning goes so much further than at first glance. So yeah, this is the deck that I cannot stop shutting up about. Love it, love the colors, love the symbolism, love the artwork. There it is. That is the Star Tarot. And that was it for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 decks. Thank you for coming and hanging out with me. If you haven't yet, please like the video and subscribe. If you're not subscribed, thank you again to all those that have, and I will see you soon. Bye.